Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's the state of stupidity.
I told him. I said it's a state of stupidity.
Welcome to episode 16 of the State of Stupidity. It's September 21st, and we thought we'd get one more in before this whole fucking September 22nd, 23rd thing gets us all out of whack with whatever's coming around the corner here. But in all seriousness, the UN is having their General Assembly. Zelensky is currently in the United States panhandling for his unstoppable war over there in the Ukraine, and we've got some shady dealings going on down in Texas that seem to have been going on for the last decade. And I mean, it just seems like par for the course in the state of stupidity.
No doubt.
So this Zelensky thing. Now, he's over here, and one of the first trips he does is to go to New York, to where, now I was shocked when I saw this, but you said you were reading into it, and it seems like this company's doing a lot of good up there. But he was in a hospital visiting Ukrainian soldiers who are being serviced over here for injuries sustained over there in the war.
Yeah, they were getting fitted for prosthetics.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little crazy, too, because, you know, we have our own veterans on the streets.
Oh, my God. The VA situation in this country is absolutely, it especially if you're going to have a military-industrial complex, you better have something set up on the other side for all those broken lives that you create with that.
Absolutely. No doubt. You know, so I looked into this company, and because I thought it was really shady, but here, you know, they're private, and they help, you know, hundreds of thousands of actual veterans.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't have to do that. The government should be doing it. We're paying taxpayer, you know, dollars to fund all this stuff. And then
we have Veterans Affairs where taxpayer money goes into. Like, it is one of those things where the money is there. And so if it's not being used the way it's supposed to be, and it's clearly not because it's just bureaucracy, where then a third party has to come in and be a private company that makes it real. They service how many?
It's hundreds of thousands of vets they help out.
A year.
A year, yeah.
And now we have that many in line waiting for these things. As far as going through the actual military process.
And not to mention, the ones that we have waiting are literally live miles from these hospitals.
Yeah.
They flew these guys, these combat Ukrainian fighters from Ukraine.
Yeah.
They flew them, you know, they couldn't be helped over there.
Right.
We had to fly them all the way here, but I mean, this company did it. They're a private company. They did it all on their own dime. It wasn't any taxpayer money. So, I mean, kudos to them, but
they're probably getting some kind of
they're probably getting
grant
funded.
or
it's
still
they're probably getting some kind of money, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, it kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's got to be a slap in the face to a veteran out there that is sitting here waiting for prescriptions or waiting for a prosthetic or waiting for whatever.
Well, and that's just it. Me not even like having served, seeing that, it just internally shifted some things that it just left me with an unsettled feeling that, you know, here we clearly know and have seen over the last, especially since the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, just how bad our VA system is. And so to see that these soldiers are getting such well care in such a short turnaround, it's mind-boggling, and I could see it upsetting quite a few veterans out there who are still waiting in line.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, you know, Biden was on TV a couple weeks ago and saying that the United States doesn't fail at anything that we do, which is complete bullshit.
Yeah,
we fail the veterans. We're failing Social Security. We're failing students, you know, with college debt. The only thing you're succeeding in doing, honestly, is filling your pockets and keeping your kid out of prison. That's about it.
And that is anything they say. You basically just take it's the inverse of it. Because they're not telling. It's not that they're lying or telling the truth. It's just that they invert whatever they say. They mean the exact opposite.
Did you see what Biden said yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before that. Climate change. If the temperature of the Earth goes up another 1.5 degrees, it would be way worse than global nuclear war.
They need to stop with the climate change. It's
I know, but
we're fine.
it'd be scarier than nuclear war.
Yeah, well, that's the nuke. The nuke word has been thrown around so much. Like, and the thing is we're currently in World War III.
I know, but he's
World War III
comparing
is a quiet war
a degree and a half of temperature change
to a
from
nuclear.
then completely destroying the whole world, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, if there was an all-out nuclear war, a degree and a half would be the least of our worries.
right.
You know, you'd be trying to figure out how the skin you're going to stop the skin from melting off your body.
Well, and now that's,
If you're lucky enough to even survive it.
well, there's some that believe that even the nuclear, like the nuclear holocaust, that whole try to get us behind something that wouldn't actually happen, like that. The nuclear bomb and the way it was shown to us was just to get us back in line at that time. And that there, like, radiation doesn't fully like affect things the way that they tell us it does. Because if you look, like, it just tells us to keep away. It's one of those things where they get it to where we're not allowed to go certain places because it's considered radioactive fallout. But then look at Hiroshima. Hiroshima has come back and is prospering. And now I'm not saying they didn't lay waste to it, but they didn't lay nuclear waste to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because then you have a place like Chernobyl that they want to keep people away from for, reasons. I don't know. There's a lot of history behind it. And yes, they made a show where they show you what they want you to think happened there. You know what I mean? They give you a narrative to believe just in the same way that they did with everything else in history. I mean, if you look that once they started recording things, they also started creating propaganda. And they have a Air Force base in California. The hills where, there's an actor, he bought it. They produced a shit ton of propaganda at this Air Force base. I want to say Wonderland. I think it was Wonderland Air Force Base. They had more equipment there than they did in Hollywood to record and whatnot. They were able to do everything from film the movie all the way to post-production and editing all in-house without it ever leaving. So if they were already producing all this stuff they needed to keep people in line back then, they're only going to get more sophisticated with it. They're only going to get more advanced with it. And so now where we're at is they have all these things in place and they're trying to force us all into this one government. And to me, it just doesn't make sense why you would want to, for them, it's power. I get it. But it's also too much chaos to worry about. Let people be and stop trying to force things to be your way, so to speak.
Exactly.
And that's the planet wants to go back to homeostasis. Anytime they fuck around, the planet wants to get back to the way it naturally is. If you look at, like the Hiroshima, when we laid waste to that place, it was destroyed, and then nature came back. The people there went back, they rebuilt, and it's still there. It's not like it was taken off of the map. Not like Tartaria. They took an entire country and memory hold it. I mean, if you look at where Tartaria is, it is Russia. And if you track it back, it looks like a lot of this all goes to some Tartarian and Khazarian war that is very, very old. The Khazarian mafia is the deep state's money book. Okay, they're the ones giving fuck orders from the top. Okay, they were able to wipe this Tartarian empire off of the map, and there are maps that still list it and it's named, but it wasn't something that we were taught about. We were taught about the USSR and the fall of the Soviet Union and then it becoming Russia. But before that happened, there was also more to it. And so now, if they can do that and get away with it, then what is history?
Yeah. I mean, whatever they make it is, that's what it is.
Well, so you could, in all honesty, you could just make a whole timeline up that doesn't exist. And then if you do what they did with the Rockefeller program, where they pumped the money into the education system and they controlled the narrative, they were able to then shape the minds of the world into what they wanted. It's not that reality is horrible, it's that they've created a horrible reality. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, that's because, like you said, they wanted you to be scared.
Yeah.
They want you to rely on them.
And so now here we are where we've got the UN basically spouting off that World War III isn't so quiet anymore. And you've got Zelensky and Biden trying to pound the chest that we need to do something about Russia before they fuck up the whole world. But the only ones fucking up the world right now is the Biden administration. I mean, did you see all these illegals just flowing across the border? Did you see the train full of them?
I didn't see that.
Oh man, there's a train.
We're at on the border.
Well, they're coming up through the south border.
Well, yeah, but Texas.
Well, all over.
Okay.
I mean,
where was the train at?
Oh, the train. I'm not fully sure of that one. It was one of those ones where I saw it looked like it was coming up from Mexico.
Okay.
Because it did look.
Well, yeah. Where else would it come from?
Well,
Did
yeah.
it come out of the ocean?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Obviously, it came from Mexico, but did it come in to come in Arizona? Or
Right.
Where did it come into?
Well, I mean, it's supposedly it's a multi-state trip. It's
Really?
not just stopping right over the border.
Maybe they're doing a loop.
They're going into different states and dropping off just thousands and thousands of illegal migrants. You have the Venezuelan situation going on up in New York that's clearly gotten out of hand. You've got Texas. Look at Texas, Colony Ridge.
I mean, I looked at that. That's pretty amazing to me. I mean, you want to talk about veterans.
Yeah,
You want to talk about the homeless.
yeah,
You have a guy who develops a whole pretty much micro city or micro town or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
And then he offers to finance the property to these illegal immigrants.
Right. Specifically illegal.
Specifically, yeah, illegal immigrants. That's for the loan. The qualification is you have to be an illegal immigrant.
There's actual websites.
Now he isn't doing them
and-
he isn't doing them any favors with the interest rates because he's hammering them on the rates.
Well, that's the American. He's just
Yeah,
doing the
yeah,
American
yeah.
dream.
But you can't help out.
Take advantage of the disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But how do you get away with doing that, and nobody knows about it or talking about it?
Right. And it's been 10 years that this place has been going on.
And
Because
somebody
like
said
as I
Jerry-
started looking into it, where like this was just in the news this week. And as I started looking into it more, it was like you search Colony Ridge and you get years of news stories. You get, and then there's also, it's also called
It's supposed to be a bunch of
Tyrannosaurus
I guess
Houston.
the gangs are taking over there.
Well, it's primarily cartel run.
Yeah.
Because of it being, it's basically a third world city.
How are these people going to pay the high interest on these properties? So they have to be getting money from somebody.
Well, I mean, obviously there's a system and there's money coming into that place. But I mean, it's actually being advertised online on Instagram and whatnot as like a place to bring your family. And then,
Really?
yeah. And
Like you mean your illegal
Yeah.
immigrant family? Okay.
and yeah,
And listen, I don't have nothing against immigrants.
No.
Most of them are great people.
right.
But there's ways to do it the right way.
Yeah. And we currently have an overrun border. I mean, there is easily a standing army in our borders of illegal citizens. With the amount that have come over just since 2020, you have, or 2021, you have at least enough for them to arm up and do some stupid shit, you know? And it's one of those things where we always talked about when the 9/11 shit happened, taking care of the homeland before worrying about abroad. Well, it looks like we've sent everyone everywhere else and we've left the home abandoned. The National Guard is being used, but not used the way they should. They were diminished into weekend warriors instead of being the model of the standing army at home. Now, and I probably said something stupid there, but it is what it is. It's one of those things where, like, we have a war going on at the world level. We have a war going on at the civil level. There's a cold civil war going on. And just because it's not what we were taught was war, where it's battles in the street, it's people getting gunned down left and right.
Well, that is happening, but that's totally different.
Yeah. And it's happening in different ways than what we were shown. I mean, turning people into docile, subservient, like, just do what we say when we say it, like, that's not the American people. You know, the American people are the last to be pushed around. And it's one of those things where if we want to unite as a world, we need to unite as a world not governed. We need to unite as a world of people who just want to live. We don't need anybody sitting at a giant, like, did you see these, the optics of these fucking groups with their rows of people up on high and that type of bullshit? Like, the optics of all of it is just disgusting anymore. I mean, and it's 2023. Like, we've evolved beyond the need for government because we've gotten to the point where we can all be intelligent human beings.
Well, we didn't. That's partially true and partially not true.
Well, they forced it to be where we don't, like, the majority aren't.
We've evolved away from the government that's there now.
Yeah.
Because the government that's there now is way more than what it was ever intended to be.
Well, is it a democracy?
No, absolutely not. That's what I said. It's way more than what it was ever intended.
What was it supposed to? What was it originally intended to be?
All they were supposed to do is protect the borders, protect the homeland.
It was originally intended to be a republic.
But it wasn't intended to.
It wasn't supposed to be a democracy.
It wasn't intended to feed you.
The
rest of your life.
forefathers,
Yeah.
the forefathers actually said a lot of bad things about democracies, and they were trying to make it a republic for the people, by the people, of the people.
Absolutely.
And
the only reason the government was there is to serve and protect the homeland and protect the homeland from enemies, foreign and domestic.
yeah, and then in the 1800s, it got hijacked.
It's not
and
to
turned
take-
into a corporation.
It's not to tax the shit out of you
right.
and spend all your money where they see fit.
Well, most of those taxes are illegal. And
Absolutely.
most of it is all just a matrix of design where we get people to believe they have to, so they keep doing it. There's actually, I'm looking into, I'm not going to go too far into it because I've just started looking into it, but there's ways to actually file to where you don't have to worry about filing.
Oh, yeah.
You can become national sovereign. The U.S. is not, we belong to America. We live in America. United States is a corporation that resides within the confines of Washington, D.C. The United States is a bankrupt default corporation that is being picked at by vultures. The America that is the place that we actually live is what is of the people, by the people, for the people. But because they were able to use language and legalese bullshit to fucking manipulate so many people into feeling shame and guilt, they gave people away. People gave away their own free sovereign lives. And they funneled into these systems that were created without knowing any better. For, the times, knowledge was something you had to seek out at that time. It wasn't just something that was given. And it's something that was then manipulated. And it was turned into the monstrosity that it became. And we now have this.
Well, it's all designed by lawyers
Yeah.
as a way to get rich.
Yeah. And
I mean,
and entrap people.
I mean, look
Like,
at you got Biden, Hunter Biden, who has 2 whistleblowers come forward.
yeah.
And then you have some other jerk off in the IRS that comes forward and tries to say that everything they said's a lie,
Yeah.
just so Hunter can go ahead and try to sue the IRS to hide all the bullshit he's doing. If me or you tried to do that same shit,
Yeah.
we wouldn't even have a chance in hell to do that.
No, they'd probably bring one of them shotguns that
Yeah, they bring
that
one of their
Beretta-
full autos that
yeah,
they got. Yeah, I mean,
Beretta gave them.
it just blows my mind. Like, I don't know. And then look at Fetterman. You got that.
Which oh,
Did you see-
dude, did you see his missing tattoos?
No,
Oh my god. This motherfucker lost his tattoos when he had a stroke.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Well,
Like there was
I mean,
there was
have a
there
clip.
was talk of him having changed since the stroke, but then and it was one of those things where it was this whole like when he was asked about the Biden impeachment thing,
Yeah.
the dude throws up his arms. Now, Fetterman's got full fucking like big old tattoos right here. Ain't nothing there, bud.
really?
Ain't nothing
I'll have to
there.
check that out. You have to put a link for that. I didn't
Yeah.
see that. Well, what I thought was funny, he's got his gibberish about these millionaires and billionaires with yachts
Yeah.
skiing behind them, and how many boats do you need? You couldn't even understand the hell he was saying. He sounded like, he's definitely suffering from the stroke big time.
Well, they have a name for that. It's some kind of syndrome. Him and Biden talk very similar.
But the whole thing is, what I got out of it is he's pissed off because these millionaires and billionaires have all his money.
Yeah.
Well, before you go after private citizens that happen to be millionaires and billionaires,
Yeah.
why don't you go after the millionaires and billionaires in your own party that have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 homes?
Right.
I mean, just to name a few: the Obamas, the Clintons,
Yeah.
the Bidens, Bernie Sanders. The Sanders, and we won't let out the Republicans either because there's a ton of them over there
Yeah.
that are doing the same thing, or Pelosi. But instead of you sitting up there and berating all these private citizens, why don't you fix your own party first?
Yeah.
Why don't you take care of those dirtbags first? That, guess what? They didn't fucking earn $1 of that money that they got.
Right.
They stole it from the American people with bullshit taxes, laws, and getting kickbacks from their lobbyists.
Exactly.
They didn't earn the money like the other billionaires and millionaires did. So why don't you go after them first? Because they're actually hurting the American people more than these billionaires and millionaires that might have had some genius idea that they turned into a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, but let's go after those folks and let the dirtbag, scumbag thieves. Let's
Well,
not talk about them.
That's what
You
we
know, like
need to do is just seize all their bank accounts. Most of that shit could be taken care of because they were so good at what they did. The amount of money these people have in assets and all the shit. If we just went and took all of Washington elite,
Exactly.
just keep it at the Washington elite
Yep.
level. We don't even have to go further than that.
Then these auto workers union. These unions just piss me off.
Well,
They want a 40% increase,
yeah,
a 32-hour work week, and get paid for 40. They want all these idiots that come in new to start at the top, pretty much, and then they're bitching because the guys at the top are making too much money, or these companies are making record profits. Well, instead of you trying to make more money, why don't you say, you know what, we're making record profits. Maybe we should have cut back on the price of the vehicles and let the consumers
Yeah.
have a little relief.
yeah,
Instead, they want to be just as bad as the guys that they're bitching about.
right.
You're
And the money.
I'm not going to feel bad for you one bit when they get more robots in there and you don't have a job at all.
Oh.
I'm not going to feel bad for you one bit
Did you see? I saw they have like
because that's what they're
fully
pushing.
automated shipping container yards.
Well, good, they should, because
Yeah,
these unions
like-
they're slowing down the whole process of getting shit in and out of here. They want to whine about prices. They want more money. Do your job. You work 8 hours, and out of that 8 hours, you're lazy pieces of shit. You're working 4 hours. You're out you're out on lunch doing drugs.
Yeah.
And then the union saves your job. You're a piece of garbage. You shouldn't even have a job. You put everybody else in the union in danger by working on the job high and drunk. But the unions step in and protect these people.
Yeah.
The union, as far as I'm
that
concerned,
goes to the lawyers. That goes to the
but
lawyers of it.
It all goes to these union idiots.
Yeah.
These guys at the top. Listen, I hate the unions.
Yeah.
They were great years ago, but now all they are is they're thieves.
Well, when they were doing when it was where people were
and you
taking
know what?
advantage of systems.
They're so
Those
bad at-
systems got worked out, and then it got to be where the union needed to find something to do.
Oh, exactly.
It's
so
just
now,
the same
now
with the
what
politicians.
they do is they price themselves out of everything, so they only work half the year.
Yeah.
Great, you made $30, $40, $60 an hour. You only worked half the year, you moron.
Yeah.
The rest of the year you're whining you don't have a job.
Yeah.
You couldn't make it in the real world because in the real world you're not going to have your ass saved every time you do dumb shit.
Right.
So, like I said, the union, as far as I'm concerned, the unions they're a waste. They're wrecking the country.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and
you want to have Biden say the unions built. No, the unions didn't build shit.
No.
The unions wrecked everything.
the laborers, the labor force,
The real workers that
Yes.
aren't in the unions that can do the job 10 times better and for half the money, and they're still happy about it and they're making a good living.
Well, and
Those are the people that built the country, not the
it's-
dirtbag unions.
the companies that find a way to give their workers a good work-life balance where they feel like they have come in and contributed to something that is worth contributing to, and then at the end of the day they're still able to go home and be able to spend time with their family and spend time in their own world. You know, it's about they want it's where they've fallen off. They stopped keeping everybody happy. All their little wage slaves, well, they stopped keeping us happy because there's too many of us.
And
So
the-
we
you know,
started getting in their way.
The only reason the government wants anybody to make more money, they don't give a shit about you.
It's the tax money.
They're getting more tax money. Exactly. They're getting more payroll taxes. Wake up, people. They don't care whether you make. All they care about is what part of your paycheck they're getting.
Well,
And the more you get, the more they get. That's all they care about. And just remember that the higher tax bracket, you actually make less money.
yeah,
So if they wanted to actually help people out, why don't they make overtime tax free?
yeah.
We'll tax your 40 hours. Anything over that, there's no tax on it.
Well, because
Why don't they do that? They're still worried about people making more money.
Yeah.
Stop taxing the shit out of them.
Well, it is what it is. It's to a point where there is no. I mean, Washington is just theater. I mean, there's no real sense that any change is going to come from keeping things the way they are. There's no real change that's going to happen from bashing our heads against the wall, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a new result. I mean,
They got
has,
the result they want.
yeah. They have us funneling into the system that
Yeah,
they've built.
They love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's what I've said. We need to turn Washington, D.C. into a jail and start over and go from a place where we don't all come the fuck together in a town and decide what people thousands of miles away are going to do with their lives. And at the state, at the local, it all corrupts over time.
Did you see that that girl that won out of Western PA? She won the runoff. I think it was a state Congress runoff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, her last name's Powell. They made sure they put in the paper that she's the first black female to win in a majority of white area. Well, guess what? That's because the average people that are good people don't see color.
Yeah.
They seen her as the best fit.
Yeah.
She's a Democrat, but you know what I like about her? She's young.
Yeah.
It's I'm sick of these old,
Yeah.
whether they're Republicans or Democrats. These old people that need to be put them.
Well, but that's just it. Even like, so someone young gets into the system and then just gets beaten down by all the old ways, by
That's
all
what
the
I'm
old.
saying, exactly.
And so
There's
it's one of those things
There's
where,
too many of these old people in there.
yeah,
Young people need to get out and vote, and they need to get some decent candidates. They don't need to be young, but middle age, whatever. I mean, whatever. But
if they didn't control the vote, if they didn't actually control who was or wasn't getting to these places, I would agree with you. Go out and vote for change. Go out and, but if anything, with what we've seen over the last 3 decades, I'll give you 3. We'll just leave it at that. You can see that they've just controlled and pushed and manipulated. I mean, they're all connected. Like it's a big group, and we ain't in it. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where the wheels have only come off of their machine since Bush Sr. died. Like that, there seems to be between that and Trump getting in. That seems to be that like 0 point of when things started to shift to where they couldn't really control the narrative anymore. So they came out with the whole fake news thing. Well, that kind of blew up in their face because now all their shit, we can see how fake it is. Like it's one of those things where trying to tell people what is or isn't true, people are going to be able to fucking figure it out eventually.
The thing I love about it, it's so hard to get on the ballot. That's what I think's great. They, like you said, they limit on who can be on there.
It shouldn't be that fucking
Exactly.
hard.
It shouldn't be that hard to get on the
you
ballot.
or I should be able to go
Exactly.
out and say, you know what? I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to
Exactly.
sign this piece of paper. It should be as simple as filling out a
Yep.
form, handing that form in, and your name is there.
Exactly.
And then the rest is up to you. If
Yep.
you go out and campaign and you get enough people to know your name and you get enough votes, that's how it should work.
Exactly. Why you have to go through all this rigmarole bullshit to get on the ballot?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of it?
It doesn't make
It's
any
to
sense.
restrict people from getting on the ballot. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
It-
Because you know what? They're afraid that there might be 50 people running.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good because that means those 50 are all going to take, the 48 of them are going to take a lot of the votes from the other two, the 2 Republican and Democrats.
Yeah. And that doesn't add up. It doesn't show.
No.
And it's one of those things where they use that to be able to then bring somebody along like a Rand Paul or who was the other one from back in the day? Ron Paul, I'm sorry.
Ross Perot?
Yeah. Ross Perot.
Yeah.
He was the other one. He was always
Yep.
running.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time he was running. And they would always get votes, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well,
Well-
and then he dropped out, I think, the last time.
Yeah, it got to be, I forget what year it was, but it just, the machine finally
Yeah.
beat him down to where he saw that he was too old and he said, nope, I can't do it anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was one who actually went and even went that far. Now, to me, he always seemed, I never really got too into it back then because of how young I was.
Yeah, I
but,
was the same thing. Same
Yeah.
thing with me.
but he always came across as the one trying to fight the system. Like that was the guy who was always trying to actually stick it to them. And it was one of those things where I want to say it was probably the time Trump ran that he didn't. Like it was somewhere around then to where then all of a sudden here comes Trump, and Trump's that type that he was supposedly anti-establishment and all that shit.
I think he didn't run after right around Bush and Gore.
Okay.
I think it's when he stopped.
I
stopped
remember. Yeah, I
I think it was
remember.
right around then.
Yeah, because I remember he was. Yeah, he was brought around when the pregnant Chads and all that bullshit from the Florida situation back in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some memories of him back then.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, we don't have a solid political system for the people. And if the people can't see that and understand that there's plenty of money for everyone. There's
Oh, yeah.
there's plenty of everything for everyone
plenty of
when
resources.
you don't have the people that are controlling things.
Exactly. I mean, get back to that Zelensky. I mean,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Well, yeah.
What's this guy expect us to give him?
Dude, he wants us to I guarantee you he wants us to start sending our troops, our like actual like military force. He
The
wants
places the
us
size of Texas.
to
I mean, what
fight
the hell?
Russia. That's what he wants.
see
He
Pol-
wants us to fucking fight
Exactly. Do
Russia
you see,
for him.
Do you see Poland doesn't want to? They want to stop giving them weapons
Well,
because they're upset over the grain.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, well,
that
how-
hey,
so
that
you-
makes sense. You fucked up their grain supply. So like, yeah, they're gonna not want to fucking support your war.
exactly. It's like
It doesn't make any
it
sense.
makes no sense. Like I said, how much fucking grain can these guys possibly have?
Right?
They're the size of Texas.
Yeah. It doesn't. That it just there's it. It's bullshit.
Absolutely, it is.
It's one of those things where you can't show me a place that big and say that we're producing that much
To feed the
out
whole
of it.
world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, feed 70% of the world or whatever the hell they're trying to say. It's ridiculous.
It does look big enough to be funneling enough human trafficking issues,
Yes,
and you know your baby farms and your all your human smuggling. It seems more than big enough and in a prime area to be working out of. You know, and all those bio labs that the United States decided to put over there.
You see these idiots too are back to the shutdown, the government shutdown again.
Well, yeah, Biden started wearing a mask again.
Really?
All the
No,
stuff.
I'm talking about because they can't get these spending bills straightened out again.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
like,
yeah, they're coming.
Here we go with
talking
this
government shutdown.
Here we go with the same nonsense. We're going to shut the government down.
Let them do it. Do it. Do it.
I mean,
What's do it?
If
What-
they shut-
if they shut the government down, what?
well, yeah, all the union government employees will be getting money anyway, so that ain't gonna make a difference. The only thing that's going to affect is the people again.
The only thing that won't happen, we won't have the C-SPAN conferences.
Yeah,
we won't
yeah.
have the
We won't
pomp
have
and
all the-
circumstance.
We won't have all the late night bullshit to watch on CNN, the
Yeah.
reruns of all the bullshit hearings they have that nothing ever happens in.
Well, and that's just it's ridiculous that they have, like I said the other week, where they do it twice. That shows the theater of it. They have an actual hearing, and then they go and they redo it
that makes
for
more
the
sense.
public. It's just where they're basically just reading from scripts at that point. And I mean, if they're reading from scripts, I mean, come on. Like, I'm not saying that. Well, there is a writer's strike, so we know they're not getting good scripts right now.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
it. Well, look at the
And how long is that going to go? You see how that's like mute now? Nobody even talks about it.
yeah.
They're like, yeah, the writer's strike.
Go ahead.
We got AI doing stuff. We don't need you guys anymore.
Nope. I mean, by the end of the year, they'll probably have AI just making the movies. Like even just because now you can create like little 5-minute videos. Well, I think they're even longer than that now. But where like it actually like animates it in a way that makes coherent sense and not like AI sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just in the year of AI, like where we started the year,
yeah,
with just asking it fucking
crazy.
questions to like now it can create whole YouTube. It's literally running thought the thirst trap
Did you see
accounts on Instagram and TikTok.
That one kid, that one mom had her kid had something going on with him. I don't know if it was a he or she, but she had him to 17 doctors, and they couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with this kid.
Oh yeah.
So the mom puts all the symptoms into the AI,
Okay.
and it spits out the diagnosis, and it was actually accurate. Like, spit it out immediately.
She took it to the doctor, and doctor was
It was-
like, "Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Holy
I mean, that's
shit.
pretty crazy if you think about it.
Well, and that just
So-
yeah.
So it's either the doctor. I can't see 17 doctors. The problem is with the doctors anymore, and you know, it's really not even their fault because the doctor. When I went to the doctor when I was a kid,
Yeah.
the doctor usually worked out of his house, or you know, he had his own practice. It was
Right.
him. Maybe he had another doctor with him,
Yeah.
but it was just him and the lady at the front counter, or maybe he had a nurse, whatever. Now it's just a fucking assembly line.
Yeah.
They bring you in.
Yeah.
Go through the same bullshit. The doctor it's almost like they're interviewing people.
right.
The same script bullshit over and over, and nobody ever figures anything out.
No, we
they don't even
don't-
have time.
They don't
I mean,
go
they-
to
they-
roots.
they-
They don't try to find what the cause is.
No,
they just
because-
try to treat the symptom.
That's because they have schedules. I mean,
Yeah.
all right, you got 15 minutes with this one, 15 minutes with the next one.
Yeah.
You got to cram 3 more in between them, 15 minutes too. So just don't forget that. And it's just
Yeah.
like, how the hell do they have time to do anything?
Yeah.
And it's all so commercialized anymore. That's why you're not getting diagnosis the way you should.
Well, and it's also commercialized because big pharma.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and that's the
giving
other thing.
payout.
The insurance ties their hands.
Yeah.
This guy needs a PET scan,
Yeah.
but instead of that, we're going to give you X-rays. we're going to give you an MRI, then we're going to give you a CAT scan, and then, oh, shit, we couldn't figure nothing out. Now we'll give you the PET scan.
Yeah.
Because they figure they must have done the numbers and they can save way more money if they do all the other shit first, because that probably must find a lot of the the issues going on.
Save.
Yeah, exactly. Save
Yeah.
money.
And then
Yeah.
you walk out with $100,000 bill and they said,
Or-
we think it's this.
Or the thing I love, I've ran into this personally with my wife, let's give you these medications first because the one that actually works costs more money and the insurance company wants to see if these will work first.
Yeah.
So we'll give you them first. And when you go through 3 or 4 of them and they don't work, then we'll give you the better one. It's like,
And there might be a chemical in that
Ex-
that
oh,
also
absolutely.
causes another issue.
no doubt. Well,
Yeah.
they all do. I mean, they're all like,
Well, it's the fact that it's chemicals. I mean, the simple fact
everything's
that,
synthetic anymore. Like,
Yeah.
where's the homeopathic stuff anymore?
well, I mean, 100 years ago, it was completely different. And it goes back to the whole Rockefeller.
And the problem,
it's
the other thing is you got to fight. I guess you got to fight chemicals with chemicals because before you got sick from something that was naturally born or in the air, now they're making shit to make you sick. So now you
Right.
got to get shit that they make to fix you.
Yeah.
It's nice when you can create the solution to the problem you created. There's a lot of money in that.
Well, and that's just it. They had to create synthetic problems because all things that we get sick with in natural life, we can actually treat with shit that's here on Earth. It's the way it fucking works.
Exactly.
It's real. Like I've seen enough true results of it that it is much more real than believing just in science just because for all intents and purposes we want to keep God around until it suits us. And then we throw him out the door and we think we know better. And we think we can figure things out better when it doesn't make any sense to do that. Like it does if you want to control, if you want to, back to the whole like timeline deception thing. I kind of feel like it's by design to keep us from knowing who we really are and where we really are.
Yeah.
Because if enough people figured it out and actually started thinking for themselves instead of thinking the way we're literally born and raised to think, and I mean the matrix of all of it for the most part, we are much more powerful beings than we have any idea of,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where waiting for a hero, you're never going to find one. You are your own hero. Whether you're at a level that you feel like you're being stepped on by everyone around you or you think you're king shit and you can walk on water.
Listen, nothing in your life's going to work until you do.
Right.
That's just the
Exactly.
way you got to look at it. So,
Abso-fucking-lutely.
That's
Get your
right.
head on straight.
exactly.
Positive thinking.
Exactly.
Power
like
of
I said
positive
before,
thinking.
Yeah, your mind creates 60,000 thoughts a day. 50,000 are negative.
You
Don't
need
focus
to
on 'em.
do inner work to be able to handle your outer world.
Exactly.
The only thing you can control is yourself.
Yep.
Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity. That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's the state of stupidity.
I told him, I said it's a state of stupidity.